2022 is coming to a close, but that doesn't mean that there's any lack of MMA drama. The new welterweight champion, Leon Edwards, has told Jorge Masvidal to get on his knees and beg if he wants a chance at his belt. Will Masvidal be the first fighter to challenge Edwards? And why does Edwards believe that his upset win over Kamaru Usman is just the beginning of his UFC legacy? Stay tuned for all of that plus more, coming right up. First up, Leon Edwards wins the belt. British welterweight Leon Edwards is on top of the world right now. After wins over Nate Diaz, Rafael Dos Anjos, and Donald Cerrone, Edwards' 10-fight unbeaten run was rewarded with a title fight at UFC 278. And not just any title fight, it was against Kamaru Usman, who is one of only 3 people to ever beat him. But his opportunity to hold the welterweight belt was slipping away throughout the fight. Usman was proving why he was undefeated in the UFC and already had 5 title defenses to his name. Apart from the first round, all 3 judges had Usman winning 3 out of the 5 rounds. That meant that all he needed to do was ride out the fight to remain the champion. Then, deep in the 5th round, Edwards hit Usman with a kick that sent shockwaves through the MMA world. Edwards feinted to lower Usman's body before cracking his left shin into Usman's head and knocking him out cold. Jaws dropped to the floor. It was most likely the knockout of the year. With that, he picked up his first UFC championship win. In those moments, he revealed that he heard his coaches shouting head kick, and we all saw what happened next. UFC 278 was no doubt the biggest moment of his career. Now analysts and fans are wondering whether we're watching the climax of Edwards or the beginning of a new era for the welterweight division. Next, is this just the beginning? Leon recognizes that the champion status has changed his life, but he's determined to make this a lasting legacy and not get sidetracked. At 31, he has reached the top of his sport, but Leon thinks that his gradual rise will be the key to his future success. Instead of exploding onto the scene and earning a quick title shot, Edwards ground away for years until he was ready for the big stage. His belief in himself hasn't changed though. In an interview, he said, "I feel this is how it was meant to be. For a long time, I've always said I was the best in the world." At UFC 278, he finally made the world believe it. Edwards has long been tipped as the future of British fighting, but even for his most hardcore fans, knocking out Usman in front of the world wasn't on the cards. He has admitted that the moment has made him into much more of a celebrity, but his routine hasn't changed. Winning the belt was the culmination of 8 years of hard work, and now he's finally starting to see the financial reward for it. 2 years of fight cancellations were tough on Edwards, but it may have been a big part of his strength now. He has said that he used the time to improve himself and wait for his moment. Well, his moment has definitely arrived. There's no denying that. Where and when could Edwards rematch Usman? Dana White has already suggested that Edwards and Usman will be facing each other again to settle a trilogy of fights. And according to Edwards, he's ready to go early next year, which could be as early as March or April. This time out, he'll have something more to prove. He said, "I think it'll be the same as last time. I'm going there to let everyone know that I'm the champ and that it wasn't no luck." The good news for Edwards is that he'll have the home ground advantage. It looks almost guaranteed that the fight will be happening in the UK, which means a lot to Leon, especially after his fight against Tyrone Woodley in 2020 was cancelled. That would have taken place at the UK's massive O2 Arena. Since taking his belt with him back to his hometown of Birmingham, he has been honored by the Lord Mayor and has become even more of a local hero. Plus, he's only the 2nd fighter from the UK to win a UFC championship. That's why his #1 choice would be Villa Park in Birmingham, which would fulfill his childhood dream. And with other UK talents like Paddy Pimblett and Molly McCann, a stadium show in the country might finally come to fruition. The British-Jamaican fighter is also happy to help inspire the youth of his community through his success. Up next, how did Leon Edwards send his teammate to the hospital? And is Masvidal willing to beg for a title fight? So don't go anywhere. A training incident? The most impressive thing about Leon Edwards knocking out Kamaru Usman was that the sequence was something the team had been training for months. Then when the time was right, towards the end of the fight, his coaches told him to use it, and it paid off big time. It looks like the training for that head kick hasn't stopped after he won the title, with some disastrous results for his team. During a training session, Edwards hit one of his teammates with a similar kick that he used against Usman. It must have caught him on the mouth because in a video posted to Instagram, rising Irish star Ian Gary showed busted up lips while on on his way to the hospital. Gary said that Edwards would have never landed this strike if his cardio had been on point. Gary's lip was still swollen up days after the incident, and he said that he was in excruciating pain after feeling just how strong a striker Leon Edwards is. The video was taken by Gary's wife, whom he said is normally the one to keep his ego in check. On this occasion, though, it was clearly Edwards who brought him down a peg. Imagine sparring with a world champion and they hit you with the deadliest strike in the UFC? Next, Masvidal wants in on the action. Edwards said in the past that he would give Jorge Masvidal a title shot, even though he doesn't deserve it. That's because there's a long history between the two. In 2019, Masvidal knocked out Darren Till at Fight Night 147 before getting into a backstage fight with Leon Edwards. Leon left the event with a big cut under his eye, but refused to press charges. Dana White blamed security, but it was Masvidal who instigated the bust-up. Instead of taking it to court, Edwards has been waiting for his revenge ever since. They were scheduled to fight last December because Masvidal had an injury during his training camp. Now that Edwards is in the driver's seat of the welterweight division, the time might finally be right. Masvidal definitely isn't in the same form as he was in 2019 when he destroyed Darren Till, Ben Askren, and Nate Diaz. Currently, Masvidal is on a 3-fight losing streak and facing charges after attacking Colby Covington outside a restaurant. This poor form is what makes it hard for Edwards to imagine a future fight. He said, "I'd love to have that fight, but he keeps losing. It's difficult for the fight to make sense. Our careers are going in two different directions." While Edwards is open to fighting anyone in the top 5, a grudge match against Jorge Masvidal is hard to resist. Knocking Masvidal down from his baddest mother effer belt would earn him a lot of respect in the sport. But if Masvidal really wants the fight, Edwards has told him that he needs to get on his knees and beg for it. What a cruel king Leon is turning out to be. And the king can choose big money now. There's one coveted fight in the UFC. No matter which division you're in, every fighter dreams of getting called up to fight Conor McGregor and break out the red panties. It's a guaranteed blockbuster. Despite the Irishman only winning one fight in the last 4 years, his last fight with Dustin Poirier made 1.8 million pay-per-view sales. And despite finding success outside the fighting world, the Notorious One has made it clear that he wants to keep fighting inside the octagon. But no one knows which division and against who that return will be. As a newly crowned champion, Edwards has said that booking a fight with McGregor would be easier to make than most. That's because, unlike most competitors, Edwards and McGregor actually share the same manager. Another reason that the fight might go forward is that McGregor has put on a lot of weight. Edwards said, "McGregor's got big now as well, so I think he'll definitely come back at welterweight. Do I think I'd win? 100%. The welterweight champ thinks that he has age and technical skill on his side, but the matchup could remain a pipe dream. For now, Edwards said that he's totally focused on the killers at the top of his division who are looking to take his belt. Who should Leon Edwards fight next? Are we seeing the beginning of a long reign at the top of the welterweight division? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one.